Couple boys clock out about 5:35, trying to put a little hammer in their head. Standing in the liquor store staring at a fifth, but they picked up a handle instead. Hell right. Hell right. Hell right. Okay. Couple girls with their boots on, got their Bluetooth on, t-shirts saying go Sooners. Then the girl from the small town took off the old town, put on a little name Junior. Thank God. Hell right. She got all her rowdy friends coming over tonight. Hell right. Hell right. Everybody's throwing down on a Friday night somewhere in America. There's a bottle to burn and a fire to light, and you ain't done nothing if you did it halfway. If you're gonna raise hell, then you better damn raise hell right. Hell right. Hell right. There's a guitar on the ground that was making some sound till somebody pulled a hillbilly slip. Now there's fog on the window. She never would have kissed him if he didn't play a lick like this. Hell right. Hell right. Hell right. Hell right. Everybody's throwing down on a Friday night somewhere in America. There's a bottle to burn and a fire to light, and you ain't done nothing if you did it halfway. If you're gonna raise hell, then you better damn raise hell right. Hell right. Hell right. Now 7 a.m., damn if there ain't an empty handle on a square hay bale. Everybody's passed out drunk, but when they wake up, they're all gonna hurt like hell right. Yeah, boy. Hell right. Hell right. Everybody's throwing down on a Friday night somewhere in America. There's a bottle to burn and a fire to light, and you ain't done nothing if you did it halfway. If you're gonna raise hell, then you better damn raise hell right. Hell right. Hell right.
You're listening to the Beaufort County House of Cards on the Big Patriot Radio Network.
Introducing to you.
You're on House of Cards, live on Facebook and YouTube.
It's going down now.
Locked and loaded with the truth.
And welcome in, everybody, to this special Monday edition of Beaufort County's House of Cards, again brought to you by WeThePatriotShop.com/big. You see it there on your screen. Visit those folks at WeThePatriotShop.com/big, a U.S.-based manufacturer that offers healthier products, a better way to shop. You've got to try their Black Angus steaks. 518-538-2877. Give them a call. That is WeThePatriotShop.com. What a fantastic group they are. Glad to have them on board with us here on Beaufort County's House of Cards. Hey, everybody, I'm Mike Covert. And again, thank you for tuning in to this this special edition, if you will, of the House of Cards. Let me try to get a couple of things fixed on the screen. We are coming in from another location this week. We've got a special show coming up that we're going to bring to you. Here in about 5 minutes, we're going to go live, simulcast the Beaufort County Council meeting tonight. We'll go live there at about 5 o'clock here in about 5 minutes. On tap for tonight is probably the most important thing, at least concerning folks here in Beaufort County, is in southern Beaufort County is the Bluffton Parkway Phase 5B realignment. That issue is once again rearing its ugly head. It was on the table before I became a county councilman, and it didn't. When it was voted on and supposedly passed, the money was acquired, never was spent or was spent elsewhere or whatever. It came up again when I was on council, and it was in my district, and I got it squashed. Thought we had it gone, and it has reared its ugly head again. The Phase 5B would take the Bluffton Parkway from where it dumps out into the front of Hampton Hall on the Buckwalter Parkway, all the way back to Buck Island or Simmonsville, right in there somewhere, and would take that dogleg out and put it behind Rose Hill, behind Woodbridge, and then the development Willow Point or whatever it's called. That they're waiting on this. Now, most people, 96% of the people that I have talked to over the years have said no, they don't want this. So I'm not sure who voted yes on it. If it was a countywide thing, then that holds no water. But 96% of the people in the Buckwalter area, the Pritchardville area, council districts 6, 7, and 8 have told me no, they're not for it. People in Woodbridge and in Rose Hill, the golf side of Rose Hill would be extremely damaged, in my opinion. There would be it would cause an incredible traffic nightmare getting in and out of those places. And basically, what's this do? What's the premise behind it? Well, it's basically to promote the building of more and added on to existing developments. That's the whole point of it. Many in the bureaucrat system will say, no, this is to make it a straighter shot, align the parkway where it dumps from a Buckwalter Parkway back onto the Bluffton Parkway, even that dogleg out for safety. That has proven, since this was a dream, to be a futile point and an unnecessary point. So this is just in my opinion, and in many others, this is a power grab for some developers possibly and allegedly to be able to build more homes, build more gas stations, build more storage, build whatever, and create a big problem for the folks, especially in Woodbridge and Rose Hill. What's not talked about very much is the Willow Point or whatever they call that. That's almost directly across the street from Rose Hill and that church on the southern side of 278. That development, which is the majority, would be commercial, would be, as I've seen the plans for the development agreement, 3 to 5 times bigger than the Belfair Town Center. It would be modeled much after that, but 3 to 5 times bigger than the Belfair Town Center. So not sure if that's what we want in the county. Needless to say, it's a hot topic. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to bring up share the screen with Beaufort County Council. We will get them on board. And there we go. Let's see. Let's go back here. Bear with me a second. And I'll make this screen bigger. You are welcome to give some comments as we go along. I'll be glad to answer them as I can. Otherwise, just stay tuned. We'll loop this. We'll let it run in its entirety, and we'll take it from there. I have reached out to several county council members, Logan Cunningham, whose district this is in, Paula Brown, who I believe part of this is in her district. I've reached out to Tom Reitz of Sea Pines District 11, and also Tab Tabernick. I have implored to them all multiple times, as late as this afternoon within the last half hour, to vote no. Now, Councilwoman Brown advised me that she and Councilman Cunningham would be leading the charge, that they are not in favor of this and they will be voting to have this removed. I don't know if she meant from the agenda or what have you, but
it's Monday, March
let's go to
25th. If you take a look at the dais, you will see 10 of the 11 of us are here. Mr. Dawson could not be with us today. He has a family emergency. All others are with us. Would you all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? And then please remain standing for the invocation by Councilwoman Alice Howard. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. I'd like to read something about nature because, as we all know, spring has sprung, and we're doing a lot of good work in Beaufort County and Jasper County regarding nature. First of all, I have a quote from George Washington Carver. I love to think of nature as an unlimited broadcasting station through which God speaks to us every hour if we will only tune in. If you'll bow your heads. Heavenly Father, you are the master artist and nature is your masterpiece. I stand in awe before your creation, amazed at the work of your hands. As I go throughout my daily life, help me not to forget that your love for me is demonstrated all around. I just need to open my eyes and look. Amen.
Amen. Public notification of this meeting has been published, posted, and distributed in compliance with the South Carolina Freedom of Information Act. Before I ask for approval of the agenda, what I'm going to do this evening with council's permission is I am going to combine the citizen comments that are at the beginning of the meeting and the end of the meeting, because we do have a contingent from Defusky Island who would like to speak to us. And if they have to wait till the end of the meeting, they're going to stay overnight. We don't want them to do that. So I'm going to do that. Second of all, item number 17, which is what everybody is here about, I'm going to take that first item, action on that item as item number 12 after we approve the consent agenda. Also, what I'm going to do so that we have adequate time for the others who want to speak is those people who want to speak about 5B, which is part of number 17. I'm going to hold off on your speaking till we open that up for discussion. You see what we're going to do. We may be able to satisfy exactly what you want us to do. So with all of that in mind, may I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'll make that motion.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, the agenda will be approved without objection, and I see no objections. Next is the approval of the minutes of February 26th. May I have a motion?
They were not included in my packet, so
moved.
I can't move it.
Mr. McCallum will make the motion. A second,
here.
please.
I'll second it.
Duly motioned and seconded. Any discussion?
Nope, it's there today.
Yep. Seeing no discussion, the minutes will be approved without objection, and I see no objections. Okay, the next item, we have an investigation report and recommendations by Hainsworth, Sinclair, Boyd. And before Mr. Nicholson comes up, I want to set the stage.
This is important.
Hold on a second. Today, we're going to receive the report and recommendations from Hainsworth, Sinclair, Boyd. This report is the result of 7 months and more than 800 hours of investigative work that the county council hired Hainsworth, Sinclair, Boyd, and its consultants to perform. On behalf of the county council, I want to give some context to this report before we receive it. During council's special call meeting on July 24th of 2023, council announced that it had become aware of the failure by some county employees and elected officials to comply with the county's procurement code budgets, P-card policies, and other rules and regulations. As a result of this information council received, it placed the county's administrator on administrative leave with pay immediately and until further notice. 4 days later, on July 28th, 2023, council voted to terminate the county administrator for cause based upon additional information council received relating to these same issues. During the meeting of July 24th, council authorized the Finance, Administration, and Economic Development Committee to identify and to recommend to council a firm to conduct several investigations and reviews. The firm would be asked to do the following: conduct a thorough review of all purchases that occurred on or after January 1st of 2023, conduct a thorough review of all contracts for professional services the county entered into after January 1st, 2023, conduct a review of the county's procurement codes, policies, and procedures, and to provide council with recommendations for updates, revisions, new measures, and any other changes the firm believed are necessary to strengthen the procurement process, including the procurement code, our policies, and our procedures. And fourth, conduct an audit of the county's P-card system for the fiscal years 2019 through 2023 and report the firm's findings to council and make recommendations for any necessary changes. On July 28th, the same day, council terminated Mr. Green for cause. Beaufort County issued a request for qualifications, seeking qualified firms to conduct the review and investigations that I just described. Due to the urgent nature of the investigations, the request for qualifications was only open for 3 weeks. 2 firms responded, Burr Foreman and Hainsworth Sinclair Boyd. On August 28th, 10 days after the deadline for the firms to respond for the RFQ, council interviewed both firms. That same day, the Finance Committee voted in a special called meeting to recommend that council hire Hainsworth Sinclair Boyd to perform the review and investigations. That same afternoon, council convened a special called meeting. During that meeting, council accepted and ratified the recommendation of the Finance Committee to hire Hainsworth Sinclair Boyd. On September 8th, 2023, Hainsworth Sinclair Boyd and the Beaufort County signed an engagement agreement. Since then, Hainsworth Sinclair Boyd and its consultant have spent hundreds of hours investigating and working with staff on the review and investigations. We understand that the investigations are complete, but Hainsworth Sinclair Boyd's work is not. It continues to work with staff to develop a new procurement code, to enhance our P-card policies, and to delve deeper into the issues Hainsworth Sinclair Boyd found in the contracts and P-card purchases. That work will continue in the months ahead. This brings us to why we are here today. Almost 7 months to the day after council selected Hainsworth Sinclair Boyd, council has been briefed on the firm's findings. They are not good. We did not expect them to be good. We expected Hainsworth Sinclair Boyd to be brutally honest and frank so that county council and Beaufort County government can learn from the weaknesses and, frankly, the willful abuses and refusal to comply with of our policies and procedures, to improve them, to improve compliance with them, and to hold accountable those who violate them and those who turn a blind eye to their violation. Mr. Nicholson, a shareholder and managing director of Hainsworth Sinclair Boyd, conducted and presided over these investigations. He will present the firm's findings. Mr. Nicholson, you have the floor.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the County Council, it's a pleasure to be here with you again. Some of my introductory comments will parrot what the Chairman said, but I think they are important to give a fulsome report. In the wake of the much publicized issues surrounding the then current, now former Beaufort County Administrator Eric Greenway, Beaufort County Council engaged Hainsworth Sinclair Boyd, PA, working with Swiftwater Strategies, LLC, pursuant to a competitive solicitation process to review the county's purchases in 2023 to determine whether such purchases complied with the county's procurement ordinance, policies, and regulations, which collectively we'll refer to as the procurement code, to identify purchases that did not comply with the county's procurement code and the reasons why they didn't comply, and to make recommendations to county council on how to improve the county's purchasing practices, including providing advice on whether to revise any or all of the procurement code. Council also tasked us with reviewing all purchase card or P-card purchases from fiscal years 2019 through 2023, and similarly asked for a report on the propriety of these purchases and for recommendations on how the county could improve its P-card purchasing practices. As a part of this investigation, we reviewed thousands of documents, interviewed and had discussions with many past and current county employees and officials, and analyzed the county's procurement code, its P-card manual, and the practices of county staff in relation to these guidelines. Throughout this process, Beaufort County staff have been extremely helpful. They gathered and made available an extraordinary amount of data, and they have willingly and openly discussed issues involving Beaufort County's procurement and purchasing practices and procedures. Moreover, while County Council wanted a prompt end to and report of our investigation, at no time did Council try to unduly rush our work, and at all times, County Council has supported our efforts and expressed to us the desire for Beaufort County government to become better as a result of this process. Now, some findings. First, procurement issues. In 2023, several individuals with Beaufort County government failed to properly follow and in certain circumstances blatantly disregarded the county's procurement code. These issues began at the top of the county's government structure with a leadership team that, at worst, willfully flouted the county's procurement code, or at the very least, were woefully ignorant of it. Regardless of whether the county's leadership's failure to adhere to purchasing guidelines was a result of their willful disobedience of the law or ignorance of it, or some combination thereof, this failure led to an overall culture of laxity within Beaufort County government with respect to the procurement code and related guidelines that has resulted not only in flagrant violations of the procurement code, but also in many failures to follow technical details of the code and to loosely enforce those guidelines. While it is easy to look back now and criticize the actions, and in several cases inactions of county staff relative to their procurement and purchasing activities over the last year, it is important to remember that some of the most egregious problems with the procurement process came from the very top of Beaufort County government, namely the former county administrator. Two contracts, one involving weighted blankets and one involving consulting services, were entered into by the county administrator without any formal solicitation or even a purchase order, both of which are requirements of the procurement code. These contracts also included proper involvement of county staff members who had a personal stake in these contracts. Although improper approvals were made at first of these contracts, eventually they were terminated properly through the efforts of county staff. Another purchase of almost $800,000 worth of playground equipment and carried out by a former county director took place without county council approval, which is required of all purchases over $200,000.
Not true.
And without the county having a formal solicitation or even a signed agreement for the equipment. As with the other two contracts discussed above, when other county staff learned of this issue, albeit after the equipment had already been installed, staff alerted the interim county administrator, who alerted county council. Apart from these blatant violations, the review of procurement practices revealed several other issues. While none of these issues rise to the level of willfulness or blatant disregard of the procurement code already discussed, they do illustrate the culture of laxity mentioned previously. Examples of this laxity include overuse of the county's sole source procurement method, a legitimate procurement method, but one that should be used sparingly, and a failure to complete, in many instances, all of the documentation that the procurement code requires for competitive solicitations or legitimate exemptions from competitive solicitations, such as sole source procurements. Let's talk a little bit about the P cards. Purchasing for P cards increased 85% from 2019 to 2013, which is $1,104,808 in 2019 to $2,039,467 in 2023. Approximately 172 county staff members had P cards, and also elected officials had P cards at the current time. In several areas, P card use seems excessive, personal, frivolous, and not business driven, and often in violation of the county's P card manual. Examples of such purchases are individualized office decor, office holiday decorations, office furniture, an Apple Watch, a Bible annotator, inappropriate books, earbuds, headsets, individualized cell phone cases, office snacks, meals, and flowers. P card purchasing is not centralized or properly tracked among departments, making it difficult to ensure that such purchases are warranted. Authorizations and approvals are also not routinely handled appropriately to provide proper oversight, as subordinates often approve the P card purchases of their superiors, and at times staff members authorize their own expenses. Actions taken and further recommendations. During the course of our investigation, we recommended that Beaufort County Council adopt a whistleblower policy, and council did so. We have also recommended that County Council adopt a substantially revised procurement code, and council has agreed to this also, with the first reading of a substantially revised procurement ordinance to be scheduled within the next several weeks. In addition to the foregoing, we have made several recommendations to County Council to address P card expenditures and the oversight of them. These include, but are not limited to, reducing the number of P card users, centralizing P card purchasing, and requiring a much more robust authorization and accountability process. We have also recommended to County Council that it direct the interim county administrator to implement a robust training protocol for all relevant county staff concerning the county's procurement code, P card manual, and best practices for how to comply with these guidelines and be effective stewards of county resources. As part of and in addition to this training, we have also advised that the county educate its staff about the county's new whistleblower policy. We believe that it is critical that staff feel protected and empowered to report violations of the procurement code, P card manual, and other purchasing irregularities. So in summary and conclusion, several of Beaufort County staff and elected officials failed to adhere to the county's procurement code, P card manual, and other related guidelines and best practices. Some of these failures were egregious and were more than likely than not, they were willful. Other failures, and indeed the majority of them, arose out of a culture emanating from the top of the county's organization chart that at best looked upon procurement and purchasing guidelines as mere suggestions and not the law. It is important to note, however, that for each blatant violation of the procurement code that occurred, someone on the county staff raised their hand, albeit sometimes too late to prevent the violation, and questioned what had occurred and was occurring, even though it usually meant questioning the actions of someone higher and often much higher on the organizational chart. While it is evident that many within Beaufort County staff realize that there have been issues for some time with Beaufort County's purchasing practices, it is also evident that these same staff members want to make sure these types of issues do not occur again, and they are committed to helping see that Beaufort County's government is run in a professional, efficient manner. Likewise, County Council has expressed a desire to learn from these past issues and to use them in order to improve upon Beaufort County's government. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Is there any member of council need any other clarification of information? Seeing none, will you give a copy of that to the clerk so it becomes part of the official record, please? Okay. Next, I'm going to call on our interim county administrator, Mr. John Robinson, to not only give his administrator's report, but to indicate what the administration is going to do as a result of the recommendations that were made.
We'll talk more about this afterwards.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, Chairman and Council. Each of you have a copy of my statement for this evening. You're welcome to ask questions probably towards I get to the end because I have about 4 pages to read. First, I'd like to say Beaufort County is grateful for the months of hard work and cooperation from our assistant county administrators, our CFO and finance team, our information technology department, records management department, purchasing and procurement department, our legal team, and many others who put in hours of work to meet the needs of Haynesworth Sinclair Boyd as they conducted their numerous hours of interviews, document inspections, policy procedure reviews, and general investigation of Beaufort County practices. The documents and actions investigated to reach the conclusion presented by Haynesworth Sinclair Boyd reflect the culture of the past administration. Culture change began immediately after County Council took action to remove the previous administrator. Changes continued over the past 8 months and will continue into the future. Changing culture is arguably among the most difficult challenges an organization can tackle, but I think we're on the right path. I will describe actions taken by this administration and our Beaufort County team to correct problems identified by staff and Haynesworth Sinclair Boyd. Beaufort County has adapted to change quickly. We began rebuilding relationships with our peers, partners, and continued to do the business of the people while suffering with the burden of our recent past. I'm confident that our Beaufort County team is filled with well-intended professionals who exemplify quality, character, and integrity. The actions I'm about to describe are not the result of my individual effort. They are the collaborative effort of our Beaufort County team. I do, however, accept full responsibility for the hardship to staff which some of these actions have caused. County Council has trusted and empowered me to do what is necessary to mend the mistakes of the past and pave a way forward. So I'm going to go through several actions that the county staff has taken. I may have missed some. There are some minor ones, lots of things that we have done. These are the major things that we have completed or working on since July 24th, 2023. So on Monday, July 24, 2023, I was then the public safety, the assistant county administrator for public safety, and was appointed that afternoon as the acting county administrator by county council, 4 days later as the interim county administrator. So on that Monday, the 24th, the following day, Tuesday, the 25th, executive staff began collecting data on our purchasing card system, P cards, I'll refer to them. Including our current policy, the number of cards issued, to whom they were issued, and their uses. 2 days later, July 27th, I issued a county-wide directive resetting all P-card account spending limits to reflect the policy. This message was received by all county staff and all elected officials, regardless whether they or their departments possessed or used the Beaufort County P-card system. This message included a PDF copy of the current then P-card policy and a quick reference guide to county's purchasing policy, including purchasing thresholds and contract processes. To be clear, not all elected officials participated in the Beaufort County P-card system at that time. Those who did not participate were the sheriff's office and his staff, the probate court and that staff, and all members of county council. None of those officials possessed or used Beaufort County purchasing cards at that time. The policy reminder for all staff to review our P-card manual, which was effective July 1, 2021, to ensure that all policies and procedures are followed. A copy of the manual is attached in electronic communication for your convenience. That's the top of the email that I sent to staff. On Thursday, July 27th, so just a few days later, we conducted some document preservation work. So I reached out to our Assistant County Administrator for Information Technology and Communication, Patrick Hill, along with his Deputy Information Technology Director, Shakia Polite. They and their teams worked to verify the protection of critical electronic finance data, purchasing and procurement data, including P-card statements and Munis activity. So backed up all of our electronic systems. This data was protected in a cloud server environment with nightly performance of data backups. The data was retained and archived for use in the pending investigation. The following week, Tuesday, August 8th, I hosted a meeting in this room with County Council Chairman Joe Passaman. During that meeting, I invited all elected officials, county staff, department heads, and up. We had 60 to 70 folks in the room, so it was pretty full. Not quite as full as it is tonight, but there was a lot here. During that meeting, I wanted all of our executive staff to hear directly from me. I offered my expectation of compliance with the rules. And when I say rules, I mean South Carolina law, our county ordinance, policy, and our ethical standards as described in our Beaufort County handbook. This was the first step towards changing the culture of the organization. I spoke further about strict adherence to our P-card policy and purchasing policies. I continued to talk about my expectations of performance and my wishes for the future culture of our organization. During that same month, August of 2023, we conducted purchasing and procurement training. The Beaufort County Deputy Director of Purchasing, Victoria Moyer, began a series of training sessions for department heads, ACAs, and their staffs who approve, conduct purchasing administration, submit requisitions, and or navigate the procurement process for contracts. These sessions, as well as many one-on-one sessions, were held to ensure compliance with procurement ordinance policies and procedures. Following week, August 16th, I had a conversation with County Attorney Brittany Ward. We spoke about a project she was working on with our IT department's web designer and programmer, Josh Riley. The program they were building began in June of 2023, was an electronic legal review process. This conversation revealed an opportunity to expand that project to include county contracts and other documents. The vision of the system could eliminate intentional or unintentional procedure errors in our procurement and purchasing processes. Josh and Brittany worked together over the following several months with input from various departments until a functional system began beta testing in November of 2023. A simplified explanation of this internal system is a decision tree. It requires designated approvers at each step in the process to consider their consideration for final approval. The document review system captures notes, documents, and other data specific to each transaction. The system was implemented on January 1st, 2024. The first contract was processed the following day on January 2nd, 2024 by Beaufort County's Hilton Head Airport. Implementation has not been without its challenges. However, the system has proven to be extremely adaptable, and we continue to refine its capabilities. Josh Riley has proven his value as an expert in the development of this tool. In the past 90 days, really, I guess it's 85 days since we did that, but in the past 90 days, the system has helped staff process over 100 contracts, legal reviews, and other documents. The document review system has offered a smooth transition of materials through proper internal review and preparation of documents to transfer as inputs into our Municode system for presentation to County Council and its committees. During the months of October and November, our Beaufort County Procurement Director, Dave Thomas, introduced us to a company called Card Integrity. He introduced this program to county staff and county council. The service, Card Integrity, is a service that monitors the expense data for P-cards and requisitions. Data captured from our Munis software, that is our government finance and accounting software program we use. Data captured from our Munis software is first analyzed by this service and then monitored by internal staff to effectively mitigate risk of misuse, duplicate invoices, or fraud. Our CFO, Denise Christmas, tested this system with 30 days of data which immediately revealed opportunities for improvement in county operations. Beaufort County finance and procurement staff have worked with providers to customize this monitoring system to the needs of our county. We expect to enter that contract for service in the following weeks. There's more. January 1st, 2024, our Beaufort County Human Resources Department, led by its director, Catherine Mead, spent the better part of last year creating a new employee handbook. That handbook was implemented on January 1st, 2024. Per the request of County Council and with the help of Haynesworth Sinkler Boyd, Beaufort County authored and included a whistleblower policy in our new handbook. This policy offers a confidential path and protection for any employee with knowledge of wrongdoing to report it without fear of revenge, retaliation, or retribution. Next is our new procurement and purchasing policy. Working together with Haynesworth Sinkler Boyd, Beaufort County is in the final stages of completion and execution of an entirely new purchasing and procurement policy. Once completed, all appropriate county employees will be required to attend training on these policies with regularly planned continuing education. I'll talk about education a little bit next. Also, our Human Resources Department has executed the use of a new evaluation system, which includes a training software. It's called NeoGov. In the past few months, our workforce development specialist, Amber Black, has rolled out regular required training for all employees. This includes specialized learning paths to meet the needs of each department or specific job requirements. Training classes are done in an online environment, giving employees flexibility to complete training without interruption of their routine work. Completed courses become part of the employee's record and are stored inside the database of NeoGov. One of those programs or one of those educations was in fact the whistleblower policy. An example of continuing internal reassessment. March of 2023, we transitioned our P-card statement approvals from a paper type approval system to an electronic system. During that transition, while the transition greatly improved the efficiency of processing our P-card purchasing, it introduced the unintended opportunity for misuse by removing a layer of management approval oversight. That missing layer of oversight was recently identified and corrected. The finance system software has been adjusted to require assistant county administrators monthly approval of P-card use for each department prior to their processing of payments. So we've done a lot. I didn't mention everything that we've done. Individual departments have also done specific work related to their organizations and how they manage their purchasing and procurement. I look at the changes so far in phases. Phase one is the completion of the final report from Haynesworth Sinkler Boyd. Although the final report is very close for us to receive, it's only part of phase one. Staff will continue to work with Haynesworth Sinkler Boyd to implement new policy and procedure, as well as develop systems to ensure continued compliance. Phase two is the corrective action. Corrective action began immediately. However, the objective report from Haynesworth Sinkler Boyd has inspired staff to review in further detail ordinance, policy, and procedures to improve in areas which may be in conflict with best practices, industry best practices. Phase three is an assessment of policy violation, which may require further investigation or disciplinary action. Beaufort County executive staff, Beaufort County legal team, working with Haynesworth Sinkler Boyd, will continue to work on specific details of their investigation. Egregious or intentional violations of policy, procedure, or ethical behavior will be investigated, and those responsible held accountable for their actions. Finally, phase four is compliance and reassessment. Compliance and reassessment is the purposeful, routine evaluation of ordinance compliance, policy best practices, and program sustainability. I want the public, my colleagues, county council, and county staff to know that although we've taken these initial steps, there's still work to do. I will continue to encourage a workplace culture which supports collaboration, communication, and personal displays of character. Every member of Beaufort County must be empowered to recognize when improvement is needed and possess the initiative to execute change with support of their chain of command. I will continue to address issues presented by Hainsworth Sinclair Boyd and will continue to work to earn the public's confidence in their government. This is not an individual effort. Permanent change can only be achieved through leadership and teamwork. Thank you. I'm
Are there
open
any
for
questions
questions.
of council? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
To the members of the audience and those looking on, sorry that you had to listen to all of this, but it was very important that you understand, we did not take this lightly. We've spent an extensive amount of time, energy, and
This is
money
egregious
to
coming
be
from
sure
him.
that we are as
I'm going to start
transparent
posting comments
as we
in the
possibly
comment
can.
section
Mistakes were
as
made.
we get
We
ready to go
acknowledge those
to
mistakes, and we'll
5B.
move
When that comes up, then
Okay.
I'll back off.
Is there any other
Feel
report?
free
Thank you.
to comment as well
Is there any other
on what
report?
you just heard. I'll begin posting some of the things that that I made notes on while this was happening.
Yes, sir. Tonight, I'd like to recognize Mary Brantley from our Planning and Zoning Department. I don't think she is here. Nope. Okay. I'll keep going. Mary is a zoning analyst too. She's worked for Beaufort County for 2 years. She reviews plans for single-family homes and zoning district compliance, assists the public with questions about permitting and zoning-related matters. Mary was born in Ecuador. She is fluent in Spanish speaking and reading. She's lived in Beaufort since 2004 and enjoys helping people in a meaningful way. Thank you, Mary. There's Mary. All right. And we have La Travette Obaya from the assessor's office. She is a mobile home assessing technician. She's coming up on 16 years of employment with Beaufort County. She's responsible for recording all mobile homes in Beaufort County for taxation purpose. There she is. She is the mother of 2 young ladies and 1 son. Her youngest daughter is studying to become a pharmacist at USC Columbia. Her son is a first sergeant in the United States Army, and her oldest daughter is a certified medical assistant. In her spare time, she is the nana for a basketball team, a cheerleading team, and soccer team. She's very busy. All right. Thank you, Ms. Obama. And this last recognition is Maria Smalls. Oh, I'm sorry. So a few weeks ago, during the 48th annual conference of the South Carolina Association of Registration and Election Officials, it's called SCARE. Their annual conference was held in Myrtle Beach between March 4th and March 9th. Maria is the executive director of our Board of Voter Registration and Elections. The SCARE Association awarded Marie the Moore Award for her years of service and dedication to election integrity, implementation of upgraded electronic voting programs, and ensuring on a whole that voters and candidates can be confident that the election process is efficient, accurate, and accountable. The Moore Award is presented each year to the SCARE annual legislative conference to a member of SCARE who best exemplifies the spirit of the organization through their continued unselfish giving of time and efforts to make SCARE a more educated, concerned group that promotes training in individuals and counties. The Moore Award is the highest award the SCARE organization presents. It was established in the memory of Betty and Marcia Moore, who worked tirelessly from a state association of registration and elected officials. This award is fashioned after the J. Mitchell Graham Award of the Association of Counties and is presented to the member of SCARE who best exemplifies the spirit of the organization. We extend our congratulations to Mrs. Smalls. Thank you so much.
I just want to thank all of you, especially County Council, for supporting the Board of Voter Registration and Elections in the effort to better elections. And I want to thank the great team. Some of them may be out there, my staff and my board members, and all the folks from around the state who recognize what we do in election. The election is an important process in our democratic system, and it definitely takes a team. It's never just one person. So I just want to give a shout out to all of our poll workers and all of our facility directors, people who are out there allowing the Board of Voter Registration to use their facilities as polling places, and all of you and all the folks in this room who are participating in the democratic process when it comes down to voting. So just remember, get out and vote is important. And we are also, this is a shameless plug, we are looking for poll workers. So please, please, if you have some time on your hand, volunteer, and we will gladly train you to be a poll worker in Beaufort County, the greatest sets of folks in the state of South Carolina. Beaufort County poll workers, y'all. Thank you all very much. I am honored and humbled by the award that was presented to me by my peers in the state of South Carolina. Thank you.
Sir, that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Okay, we are at our first citizens' comments, and as I said, when we get to item 17, which is now going to be right after we do the consent agenda, we'll have some information for you and action that we are going to take this evening. That being said, we have a couple other people who do want to speak, and I'd like to call up the individuals from Defusky Island, Cade Yarborough first, and then Michael Hubbard after that, because I know they have to get on the road back to Defusky Island. Okay, good evening.
Good evening, Beaufort County Council. I'm Cade Yarborough, Chairman of the Defusky Island Council. I've provided a packet with several items relating to the ferry situation. That includes the following statement approved by a 6-0 vote at our March 19th meeting. The Defusky Island Council serves as an advisory group or a voice of Defusky with the Beaufort County and other government entities.
You have comments, go ahead and put them in your bar.
Our council has
search bar or comment bar rather as you're reading mine. I'm just
our
going
council,
off
as well as many
of notes that I
Defusky
have.
residents, have repeatedly expressed concerns about the process used by the county in choosing the current public ferry operator, including a disregard for vessel and operator requirements included in the RFP. We have now seen numerous cases of injuries sustained by ferry riders caused by an unsuitable boat. The situation for our senior residents, for those with physical limitations, has especially been problematic as they face extreme difficulties in navigating the embarkation docks and the boat itself. On March 14th, a ferry rider fell into the water after a boat ramp collapsed. This was a life-threatening situation as he was left in the water for an extended period of time before he was towed to a different marina by another boat captain and crew. We are thankful that he was able to swim, especially since some of our residents are unable to do so. And we are thankful that the water was calm that day and that he wasn't injured or killed by the boat hitting the dock. On behalf of our community, the Defusky Island Council is now saying enough is enough. Accordingly, we strongly urge the Beaufort County Council and staff to acknowledge that the mistake was made in the selection in the inexperienced and underfunded ferry provider. We further call that the county to immediately take any action and all necessary measures to ensure that the Defusky residents and visitors be provided with a regular, reliable, and most importantly, safe ferry service. To do otherwise would be a great disservice to our community and could very well result in more hardship, more injuries, or even the loss of lives. This was our statement that was approved by a 6-0 vote at last Tuesday's Defusky Island Council meeting. Since we approved that statement, we received a letter from the Disability Rights South Carolina organization expressing strong concern about obstacles facing our residents with physical challenges as well as senior residents. This organization has reinforced concerns we already have expressed to you about the ferry issues. Once again, we call for you to take immediate action and strong steps to reinstate a safe, reliable ferry service. Councilman Lawson, as our county councilman, we particularly advocate to you to fight for our well-being of our constituents and who are also your constituents as well. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Michael Hubbard.
Good evening, members of the council. I'm Mike Hubbard. I'm a resident of Defusky Island, 5-year resident. I'm the vice chair of the Defusky Island Council. Just wanted to bring you up to date on a meeting we had back on the 5th of March with the county administrator Robinson, Hank Amundson, and the county attorney Brittany Ward. It was actually a very good opportunity for us to sit down. There were 3 members of the Defusky Island Council and several longtime island residents who could add context, a historical context to the ferry situation, when the ferry came into being and how the ferry has operated over these many years. And I think it was an opportunity for us to kind of calm the situation down a little bit and for everybody to have an open dialogue. What we've decided to do is that in the future, we'll continue our discussions with county administrator and his staff. Some of the things that we need to develop over the next few months is we need to develop an evacuation plan should that become necessary. We asked for an update on the status of the condemnation of the Melrose dock. That's still in litigation, and there was no information to be added to that. Obviously, the ADA situation is a big issue for us, and I think is probably the most important issue that we're dealing with currently with the existing ferry system. And then one of the issues came up, just a practical issue. The current ferry operator was given exclusive use of the 2 docks that they go into, both on Defusky Island and also on Pinckney Island. Over the years, we have had residents who own their own boats go to Pinckney Island, and now they can't do that. And what we were able to work out is, in one case, one of our island electrician was there. So he and his wife bring the boat over. It's a little bit inconvenient. He will let the wife out. She will get the car, and then he'll go across to Buckingham Landing. That's not an ideal situation, but there's really no place for people in the community who have boats to be able to go and get to their car. Also, in your packet tonight was a survey, and I have to tell you, it's a very professional survey that was done by one of our island residents. She received responses from 114 island residents. Put that into context, I'm not sure what the current census is of Defusky Island, but if you think about it, there's probably 300 to 400 full-time residents, maybe a few more. And honestly, that's a pretty significant return on the survey. So thank you. It's very important, and it's in your summary is in your packets. Thank you.
Carrie Major.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Council, for allowing me to speak. I again speak on the needs of St. Helena Island residents. Our community needs a state-of-the-art community center for our adults and youth to use. When we look at Buckwalter and we look at the website and see what all the amenities that they have, St. Helena has none. If you look them up, we have nothing. We have to come and travel 31 miles to Burton Wells. Everything is done at Burton Wells. We have no baseball complex that we use. Outside basketball courts, they're there not being used. There's no indoor anything for us. We do have a couple of places that the senior citizens use, but
the population.
We need something for our youth. We know that our youth are the future, and we want to do a community center so that they will have a place to go, not only with recreation activities, but educational activities, after school activities, a place that will be open, and that they will be it will be enjoyable, a place that their parents can go as well, where we can educate them, and we have programs for them. So we're looking forward to the council to speak with us and to help us to build a center on St. Helena Island, a state-of-the-art center, not a fixer-upper, but a state-of-the-art center, so that we may use that center for the good of our community. I appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now we have several individuals who would like to talk about item number 16 on our agenda. Item number 16 is talking about procurement of a conservation easement on several parcels of real property located in Jasper County, known as Gregory Neck. First one, Catherine McWilliams. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and to the council for the opportunity to speak in support of the Port Royal Sound Gregory Neck project. My name is Katie McWilliams. I'm the Director of Land Protection for the Nature Conservancy in South Carolina. In February, we purchased the 4,400-acre Gregory Neck property, resulting in the largest financial transaction we have ever done in the state in 50 years. We took the risk because this property is so valuable as a wildlife corridor. Its forests and marshes are critical for water quality in Port Royal Sound, and because it is important for the Department of Defense flight training routes. Our risk is only possible because of the potential to place a conservation easement on the property with the Open Land Trust and with the support of the REPI Sentinel Landscape Program, the South Carolina Conservation Bank, and Beaufort County's Green Space Program. We thank you for continuing to lead the way in conservation in the region and in the state, and being willing to think outside the lines of the county and recognize that nature does not know boundaries. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
I challenge the fact that it may be illegal and unconstitutional for this to happen.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the Beaufort County Council, good afternoon. I'm Colonel Mark Board. I'm the commanding officer of Marine Corps Air Station Beaufort. Thank you for having me today to highlight our support for the protection of the Gregory Neck property. As many of you know and have been involved since 2006, the Encroachment Protection Partnership between Beaufort County, the Open Land Trust, and Marine Corps Air Station Beaufort has invested over $69 million to protect over 6,300 acres in perpetuity from potential land uses that could negatively impact our military operations, preventing incompatible development and enhancing our resiliency on the Marine Corps Air Station Beaufort throughout the Low Country, where our Marines, sailors, civilians, employees, and their families live, is critical to maintaining and preserving the military mission in the Low Country and the assets that support it. Beaufort County and its residents stand apart from other military and military-adjacent communities by bringing your own money and collaboration to the table in support of this critical partnership. The Rural and Critical Lands Preservation Program that protects land within Beaufort County, and now the Green Space Program that scales up this investment and takes a proactive approach to fully protect and enhance health and well-being of both our military and civilian community on a regional scale. This is something that has never been done in the history of South Carolina and likely even in the country. The land and water quality protection benefits afforded by the preservation of these 4,400 acres in the heart of Port Royal Sound, known as Gregory Neck, will not only significantly contribute to the county and other regional conservation goals, but will also protect local airspace utilized by Marine Corps Air Station Beaufort's F-18s, F-35s, and F-5 squadrons by limiting incompatible development that could degrade training, enhancing resiliency, and ensuring protection of the Port Royal watershed. Conservation and resilience needs of Beaufort County do not adhere to county boundaries or even state lines. Neither do our world-class aircraft. It is because of this regional emphasis and the commitment to conservation and the military mission that the Department of Defense Readiness and Environmental Protection Integration Program, named REPI, awarded $6 million to the protection of Gregory Neck. That's 26% of the total funding awarded by the REPI Challenge program across the nation last year. Beaufort is unlike any military community in the country, maybe the world, and we are so proud to be a part of this unprecedented accomplishment. We have long appreciated that we are an integral part of this community and are grateful for Beaufort's unwavering support to the military mission. It makes a difference, and we are proud to be here in the heart of the Port Royal Sound, rich with history, culture, and ecological diversity. We are the Sea Islands, home to Paris Island, the Gullah culture, Pat Conroy, the Heritage, and Forrest Gump. Thank you for allowing me to share the many benefits of the protecting of Gregory Neck provides to Marine Corps Air Station Beaufort. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Timothy.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I am Timothy Evans. I am the representative on the Green Space Advisory Committee for North Beaufort County. Mr. Dawson is not here, but I serve a role with Councilwoman Howard, with Senator Tom Davis, with Chairman Mike McShane on the committee, and 4 citizen representatives from 4 geographic regions of the county. As such, we take this responsibility very seriously in our fiduciary responsibility for dealing with taxpayer funds paid for by the citizens of Beaufort County to make wise decisions on how that money is spent. Bringing forth a proposal to spend $1 million of that money in Jasper County as our very first recommendation did not come lightly, was not looked at as a easy decision, but the Gregory Neck project was so big, so important, was at the heart of the source water for the Broad River, and had such a collection of partners at the table in the form of TNC, the Open Land Trust, the Marine Corps, the South Carolina Conservation Bank, that the bang for the buck that Beaufort County receives for this $1 million investment far outweighs the amount of money being paid. As a member of the committee, we could not be more delighted to bring this forward as our first project, and we hope to see many more like it in the future.
Thank you. And finally, Kate Schaefer.
I don't think I've ever batted cleanup before, but I'll try my best. Kate Schaefer, the Director of Land Protection with Open Land Trust. As you've heard, Gregory Neck is an incredible property and warrants conservation. It's well deserving of investment by the Beaufort County Green Space Program for its 13.5 miles of shoreline along the Coosawhatchie and Telephany rivers, 2,000 acres of upland pine forest, over 1,000 acres of maritime forest, and a variety of intact habitat types. It also straddles I-95 for over 1.5 miles, and so it could have been anything, industrial, commercial, residential, or all of the above. Instead, it was purchased by landowners who intend to protect the property, and the Open Land Trust is proud to be a partner in that. This is an opportunity to employ green space funds, and so we thank you for the consideration. I want to highlight 3 things that came up when this project went before the Land Use Committee about why does this matter? So why does this matter to the Green Space Program, to us as conservationists, to you all as County Council, and to the happily full room that gets to learn a little bit about why this matters to them too. I'll start with water quality because to me that's the most powerful and universal example for all ages, right? Whether you fish off of the Bowlin Hall boat landing or take a boat from the Broad River Bridge or just eat shrimp and oysters, you swim off the waters of Hilton Head Plantation Beach, your water quality will be better for the land protection that occurs here. No amount of zoning or regulation can do what land protection does on a property like this. Second, you've heard described far better than I could, and that is the impact to the military community. The airspace above Gregory Neck includes military flight corridors between Marine Corps Air Station Beaufort and Townsend Bombing Range. And you've heard about the partnership that Beaufort has employed with the military since 2006. This additional 4,000 acres adds to the 6,300 protected, and it is an example of the scale that we can achieve when we work together at this level of partnership and how we can continue to meet the need to protect our pilots in the air. And then finally, this is the project for the Green Space program. So this is an investment that matters for policy and for partnership. Protecting Gregory Neck adds to a large conservation corridor. It protects incredible habitat that has been identified nationally as habitat of significance. It relies on partner funds. We have secured a $6 million grant from the REPI Challenge program. $2 million was recommended by the South Carolina Conservation Bank. The landowner is donating value. So Beaufort County's investment is 7.4% of the whole, which is a remarkable value for the taxpayers. This also comports with Jasper County's land use and zoning policies, and I think sets a really important example for projects moving forward and the level of partnership we can achieve when we work together. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Okay, now what we're going to do is to move to the liaison and committee reports, and then we'll take the action items, including those who want to speak about 5B. So, who would like to go first? Ms. Howard.
Okay, a couple of things. We've already talked about the Green Space Committee, so I'll skip that one. The Beaufort Memorial Hospital Board meets Wednesday. Their Finance Committee met this morning, which I attended virtually. One interesting fact, births are up 22% at Beaufort Memorial Hospital compared to the year before. I attended the Cyber Summit last week along with Chairman Passamit and several people from our IT department. It was a great meeting for 2 days last week. Port Royal, the Spanish Moss Trail crossing, unfortunately, is at a standstill for now based on some things that the Safe Harbor and the town are trying to work out so that that crossing can be put across Reebok Road. Also at the Port Royal meeting, they recognized EMS, fire, and the police for saving a young Marine's life who was shot at some apartments in Port Royal. It was very moving and touching recognition of those people and the jobs that they do. And that's it.
Any others?
I'm going to get very concise on the Transportation Committee. Everybody can look at it online, but I find this interesting. We were informed that the South Carolina Department of Transportation received a concurrent resolution from the General Assembly requesting that DOT name the new Harbor Island Bridge in Beaufort County as the George J. Giordi Mathinger III Bridge. And we are to erect appropriate markers or signs along this portion of the highway. In accordance with current law, this is my favorite part, expenses incurred in the fabrication and placement of dedication signs or markers must be paid for by the county from their transportation funds. So we have to remit $500 and then the signs will be placed.
Excellent.
Yes.
Any others?
Just one. Last week, the Palmetto Breeze came to this chamber and presented, Mary Lou did, her thoughts on why it's incredible for us to keep on funding them for our transportation, to piggyback on what Tab has said about transportation. And also last week, Frank Soul from the Hilton Head Island Rec came here to talk about his need to help a lot of families and what they do with the Island Rec with scholarships and all that, people that can't afford that. There's one thing I just want to back up a little bit. Look what's taken place here tonight. We started this meeting by talking to you about a county that might have done some things wrong with the way they're spending money. But we ended it with the good kernel in this land preservation on how we can come together as a council, take care of the business that we need to do, and take care of the people that we need to support and protect and preserve what we love. This is my first year on council, never been in politics, and I'm proud to work with this group. And the reason why it's working is because of you. So thank you for being here. We appreciate it very much. I mean that.
And anybody else?
Nope.
One final thing. As you know, we've had two readings of an ordinance for a 1% sales tax. We have not had the third one as yet. The reason we did not have the third one, we wanted to have a couple of meetings. The first meeting took place on April the 15th, where the town managers of our municipalities got together with administration to talk about the referendum, to ensure that we were meeting the needs of our municipalities as we move forward. Everyone agreed in that meeting that that was a very good thing. They gave some suggestions. The following Friday, I met with the mayors of our municipalities. We had an excellent meeting. Out of that meeting came the following things that you should be aware of before we have our third reading. One, we have established 5 information sessions. They will take place on April the 4th. We're going to go to the Hilton Head Island Library. The people of Hilton Head will hear about the referendum and how it pertains to them. Thursday, April 11th, we're going to go to Bluffton, the Buckwalter Recreation Center. We're going to do the same thing. How does it affect the citizens in Bluffton? Then on Thursday, April 18th, we're going to go to the USCB Performing Arts Center on 278, north of the Broad for Beaufort and Port Royal. Finally, on Monday, the 29th, we're going to have St. Helena's Library. So we're going to go listen to the people as we present exactly what this referendum is about. Several of the things that came out. First of all, the mayors want you to know that this is a county municipal venture. We are collaborating. 2, we know that it is a transportation referendum. We can't emphasize enough that the focus is on road improvement and road safety. We're going to work together. We're going to utilize the funds. And one major change that we're going to ask County Council to approve before third reading is we have agreed that green space is going away, but we don't want it to end. It is now going to become green belt. We have set aside $85 million in that. We have agreed that's not enough. We're going to make it $150 million. So stay tuned. Please, you'll get all of this information. It'll be posted on our website. No matter where you live in this county, you will get a chance to interact with us, to hear everything about the referendum, why it's necessary, how it will affect you. Okay, I would like a motion for the approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
Mr. McKellen makes the motion.
I'll second it.
Mr. Lawson makes the second. Duly motioned and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the consent agenda will be approved without objection, and I see no objections. Okay, we are now going to be at item number 17. I want to set that up for you. Those of you who in the audience or watching us, you may not know who LATS is. LATS is the Local Area Transportation Study. They are the ones that are required to put up funding to study roads in the area. They're proposing 3 separate studies. The first study is called the Northern Transit Study. It's going to look at the northern areas, the transit needs, the potential routes, urbanization of the area north of the Broad. The city of Beaufort, the county of Beaufort, and the town of Port Royal will invest money into that study. The second study is a study of South Carolina 315, South Carolina 46, and the Bluffton Parkway Extension study. That's going to involve Beaufort County, City of Hardyville, Town of Bluffton, and Jasper County. Now, that particular study goes from the circle at 46 all the way down to the Jasper County line. The proposed Bluffton Parkway extension has always been known as going through the Great Swamp, if you are familiar with that area. Obviously, that's not going to happen any longer because that property has been sold. This study is going to look at alternative ways to get people out of the county should a hurricane occur as they approach Bluffton Parkway to 170 and moving in that area down 46. The last study is the Bluffton Parkway from SC 170 to 278 at the Bluffton Parkway flyover. So it's the complete extension of the existing
Phase
Bluffton
5 and
Parkway.
5B.
Now, everybody is here because it is believed that it also includes a study of 5B as part of that. You are going to hear as we take action tonight, we're going to remove the county from any use of county funds towards discussion or study of 5B. So after we take that action, I will allow you time to question us on what we've done, what it means going forward. So I'm going to ask for someone to make a motion to consider amending a previously adopted resolution, which is Resolution 2024/04, that authorized the provision of funds to the Low Country Area Transportation Study, known as LATS, for Beaufort County's portion of a local match for the following studies. 1, the Northern Beaufort County Transit Study. 2, the SC 315/46 and Bluffton Parkway Extension Study. And 3, the Bluffton Parkway from SC 170 to US 278 at the Bluffton Parkway flyover, and further to authorize the interim county administrator to execute a memorandum of understanding with the Low Country Council of Governments for the management of the regional studies. May I have such a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I move that council consider amending resolution 2024/04 because we need to have discussion about the inclusion of construction and study of 5B.
Okay.
I second that.
Okay, it's motioned and seconded by Ms. Brown. Okay, is there an amendment anyone wants to put up?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Cunningham.
I move to amend resolution 2024/04 to exclude funding for any portion of the costs associated with studying the possible construction of 5B.
May I have a second?
I second that.
Okay, I think I heard Ms. Brown again. Okay, so we have amended that. We will have a discussion about that. Is there anyone who wants to speak to that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Cunningham.
A lot of you were there in February when we talked about this at the LATS meeting, and it still was included when people came out and expressed that they did not want 5B to be considered. This is something that's been brought up since 2006. Living in Bluffton since then, my entire life for 23 years now, I've seen the growth happen there. A lot has changed since 2006. A lot has changed in the last 5 or 6 years. Just because something was passed back then doesn't mean it's the right decision today. The decisions were made to create the other part of the Bluffton Parkway, and development has happened around that area. We know this connection, which is really only about 1.1 miles from the other road connecting right now, and we know where it goes through. We won't get bogged down into that. But I can tell you that I've stood out against this from the beginning. The only time I would ever advocate for it is if you can actually tell us that it's going to go all the way to 95, which nobody can. We were just informed that the area that it was originally supposed to go through is sold off. So that even puts more hardship on that. As well as if you think we're throwing a fit in our area, imagine how much Sun City is going to throw a fit when they realize it's going through their backyard as well. With that said, just know that if this does pass today where we don't do the funding, know that this wasn't brought up by county council. Somebody else, either on the town of Bluffton or on Lats, is the one pushing for this to continue to come forward. I keep having people ask me, why is it back? Why is it back? Why is it back? And I can tell you that nobody up here is bringing it forward. I've been very clear on that it will not be supported by me. And I know it's not supported by most people here on Bluffton or in the council. They've openly said that there's no need for this road. So I highly encourage you, after today is done, I hope the town of Bluffton hears us as well, that we do not want this road. We do not want to even study to open up that option. All it's doing is raising concerns. So after tonight, I guarantee you there will be a town of Bluffton meeting at some point. I hope you voice your concerns there. I hope they're in the same agreement with us at the county. We can actually lay this to rest and finally be done with the 5B nonsense. So thank you.
Is there any other discussion?
Very good.
I would like to reiterate what Mr. Cunningham said, and I want to say kudos to Mr. Cunningham. On February 26th, when we sat up here and we talked about a resolution that was on the agenda, it was Mr. Cunningham that pointed out 5B was included in that. We took a vote, and unfortunately we lost. 4 of us voted, the rest did not. So I just want to say kudos to Mr. Cunningham, because if it wasn't for him, we probably wouldn't be sitting here today. That's my opinion.
Is there any other?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I do want to express that I did vote in favor of the inclusion of 5B, but we had a chat here in the same room, and citizens like you came forth and expressed your displeasure, and it opened my eyes to what I was doing. But even after I took the vote that night, and I appreciate you coming, but I said to some representatives from council here who did not want 5B included, I hated voting for something because I'm representing north of the Broad, because I live north of the Broad. I don't even see south of the Broad unless I have to go for an emergency or whatever. But I voted against, or I voted for it, and they voted against it, and I felt really out of place because they know better than I do. And I said at the time at the chat that I had second thoughts, and that I will support their effort. And so I have retract my vote, and I will support, unusual for me to support Mr. Cunningham.
Mr. Lawson.
Yes, let me say that I also had supported the past, and let me just try to clarify what we've talked about. I will support Mr. Cunningham's amendment that he has, again, to take 5B out. But I've been here for 35 years, however, so let me give you the flip side that I've seen where we had 278 that needed widening, and there were people that were opposed to it. I've seen where people opposed the Bluffton Parkway. I've seen where people opposed the Bluffton flyover. I've seen where people have opposed the Cross Island Expressway. So again, those are all things in the past. So I'm just saying this again, I'm supporting Mr. Cunningham's idea here to do this, to pull 5B out. But again, we need to look to the future and make sure that we're doing the right thing for all generations to come. I'm not going to be here forever. And again, I can't imagine ever voting for 5B, but again, I was voting for the study itself, for us to spend the money. And we might have found out in that study that 5B was not needed, and you could have won your case that way as well, but we have to find out what the study said. So again, us moving forward, doing the studies that's necessary, and backing out the portion of 5B, I think is a very smart way to do it, and let things happen from there. But again, we definitely need to have these studies done because we all know what's happening on traffic. We see how things are getting busier and busier on Bluffton Parkway and the Buckwater Parkway, on 46, on 170, on 278. So again, this is all things for the future that we're looking forward for the studies. And again, I'm happy to support, again, pulling out 5B from that study.
Any other comments?
Just Mr. Chairman.
Just last thing I want to say on that is the only way that could have happened is if you came out and did what you did. So in the future, stay with us, stay engaged with what we're doing. We appreciate it.
Ms. Taberner.
I just want to comment. Many of these people came to the chat with council, which convinced Mr. Glover, and I appreciate your understanding that. He actually experienced our mess down at 170 on his way to Hilton at one morning. So I do appreciate his changing his view, because all of you have communicated with council that this was not something you wanted. And this shows you council does listen to our constituents in the end. Not always, but today.
Any other comments? By the way, I have spoken to the officials in the town of Bluffton. They knew we were going to take this action this evening, and they knew we were going to take this action this evening, and they understand why. Okay, any further comments? Seeing none, the amendment is to remove funding for 5B. This will be done without objection, and I see no objections. Okay, we're now back to the original motion, which is to do the study for 1, 2, and 3 without 5B. Is there any discussion about that?
I just wanted to say thank you to the rest of the council for taking the time to look this over again, and I appreciate you guys' support.
Okay. This will be approved without objection. Is there any objection? Seeing none, item 17 is approved. Do any of you wish to speak on the matter? Yes, sir. Please state your name.
My name is Tony LaMartina. I'm a resident of Rose Hill and Bluffton. Mr. Chairman, Council, thank you for hearing me today. I want to go a little bit beyond just a study and talk about the overall direction that Bluffton is moving in. For 18 years, as you know, this 5B has been discussed. Even without the study, if 5B or another amendment brings it back to life again, the increase in traffic congestion, the destruction of wetland habitat, natural resources, and wildlife, disappearing.
All right, I went ahead and muted that as let's go ahead and end that. So anyway, that the 5B subject is over. I'm not going to bore you with all these other folks, and not that they're boring, just there's no need in going through with it. 5B is now off of the LATS, which is Low Country Area Transportation Study. It's off their radar screen. What will be studied is something in northern Beaufort County, which is dire. They need that. Also, from 46-170 down to the Jasper County line, that is going to be studied for, as a matter of fact, I brought that up to Tabernick and Cunningham and Lawson, that needs to be done because of roundabouts, as well as traffic lanes, as well as possible signals, so on and so forth. So that's finally going to get done. And then the Bluffton Parkway from the bridge flyover up to phase 5B, but not including 5B. That's what's going to happen. All right. That is it for tonight. Join us again this Thursday. This Thursday is our regular show. We will be back at 7 o'clock. We got a lot of stuff we're going to talk about. Hope to have former County Administrator Eric Greenway on the show and talk about all this stuff we went through hearing from Sinclair Boyd. A lot of questions have been brought up. Not many answers after this long, 7, 8, 9 months. No other elected officials been talked about, so that's strange. Anyway, we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about the Bridget Frazier saga. You'll never guess who the judge is in her case at this moment and the tie to getting her out of jail last Saturday. Anyway, or a couple Saturdays ago. Anyway, that's where we are. Stay tuned next Thursday, or this coming Thursday, sorry, for Beaufort County's House of Cards. Don't forget, go to, you see it scrolling on the bottom of your screen, patreon.com / Beaufort House of Cards. Join in, help contribute to us $5, $10 a month, or a one lump sum. That helps independent news continue. Thanks to the folks at thepatriotshop.com / big. Great supporters of the show, and they brought you tonight's show. So until then, I'm Mike Covert, and we will see you Thursday. Good night, America.